Hi, I just thought I'd put up this little video because a lot of people have been asking me about what I think about the Euro exit, Brexit situation with the referendum. Um, and I don't really like commenting on politics that much, really, because it's always a bit, people fall out over it and stuff. But it is quite a major event, and also I'm sure will have some impact on the farm. I just sort of own up really and say that actually I didn't vote in the referendum myself. I did think about it, and then I thought, well, realistically, there was a couple of reasons for that. Firstly, I was really sick of all the bickering in between the politicians and stuff. I don't really like it all, so I just sort of thought, do you know what? I don't want to be part of that. But also, I was kind of thinking, well, I'm not sure, 100% sure of all the facts. I don't really want to pile into something thinking either way, unless I was 100% sure. So I thought I'd leave it to people that really had a stronger opinion and maybe who had better information than me. Now, this is a few days on from that and the result and everything, so everyone was really shocked. And I was also shocked myself, really, because part of the reason I didn't really vote was I did think, oh well, we're bound to stay in the in the European Union. So I was kind of thinking, well, it doesn't really matter if I don't vote because it won't change. So how wrong I was, like most people were. And now, looking back with hindsight, I'm actually starting to think, oh dear, we're actually probably better off in the European Union. Several reasons for that. Firstly, you couldn't have expected all this turmoil that's happening with the stock markets. Basically everyone's lives are going to be turned upside down with what they're going to do about maybe businesses or everything like that. But there's several things I sort of feel, I'm unhappy a bit about, really, is the fact that I think that it's kind of like we were part of a big party, if you like. Someone had a party in a flat and everyone was invited and we were part of that party. And suddenly someone's gone, right, we're leaving. Okay, so you leave everyone else in that room. So France, Germany, everyone having a good chat about what they're doing next week, and we're not part of that. So we're going to miss out on how the world's being run, if you like. So we're going to sort of isolate ourselves in that point of view. From the farming point of view, very uncertain about what's going to happen about a thing called a single farm payment, which is a subsidy we get, which is funded through Europe. And to be honest, while the milk price and everything is so bad at the moment, we kind of rely on that. And I don't know whether the government's going to match that now. We've got 2 years to find out before we actually really do leave the EU, because although we can give our notice and it takes 2 years, I'm not sure what's going to happen about the financing on the farm. We're going to have some sort of subsidy, I believe, because otherwise we can't compete on a competitive level with the rest of Europe. If they're all getting that subsidy and we're not, how on earth are we going to be able to match them for price and things like that? Kind of other thing I thought is I can see why a lot of people did vote out, and really, some people admit it, some people don't, but I think it was immigration that brought a lot of concerns to people. And I can understand that, actually, because there was a situation with the EU, where migration was unchecked from every country, if you open borders policy. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with migration, immigration, or whatever you want to call it, because, let's face it, we all need these people to come to our country to help us out. A lot of Polish people do come here already and help out. And I quite like them, to be honest. Don't have an issue with that. But I think a lot of people's concerns were, it was like unchecked. Now, the thing is, again, if you look back at the party situation, if you've got a party in your room and you've got there France, Germany, everyone like that, but you also say to neighbours, everyone come along, and there's no one on the door saying, that's enough, we're full, that can create a bit of a tricky situation. So I think really what would have been wiser, really, in the long term was to be able to set your own quota for your country, to say how many people could come in, and not let it just kind of go, well, just come all in, because it floods the market for work. It causes situations of problems with housing, things like that. I'm just saying what I think, really. I just, right or wrong, whatever. And I'm sure we will have immigration, because at the end of the day, there isn't anything wrong with that. But I think, that was probably an issue that stopped a lot of people from staying in the EU. What happens now, I don't really know. Like everyone else, no idea what's going to happen about the economy or anything like that. It all looks a bit scary, to be honest. I've no doubt that in 10 years' time this will all be irrelevant and it will have all calmed down. countries like Norway and stuff already have sort of trade agreements with the EU, even if they're not in the EU. So it can be done, but the thing is, there's a lot to sort out in one go. The worst thing you can do is probably read the newspapers, because if you read that, it's just dreadful. But if you're just walking around and going to the pub and that, you're probably going to make a lot of difference to your life. So we'll see. I'll be interested to know what everyone else thinks about our exit from the EU. I think a lot of people like myself who were thinking it was okay are now thinking, ooh, actually it's not okay. So if you've got an opinion on whether we should have stayed, or whether you've changed your mind, or from leaving to staying, or vice versa, just drop a line underneath this video and I'll have a little read of it. But anyway, we'll just have to keep going, won't we? Cheers.